Okay, so this is an example from the SOA exam. So it's the previous one. This is spring 2021, question 4B. So if you want to just reference that as I go over this. This is a really good example, well, it's a really extensive example on calculating the value of a GMAB, and it kind of combines risk-neutral pricing with real-world, and I thought it was just a very good question to cover many concepts, although I don't expect any question to be this difficult in the future. Just note that the one modification I make just to follow with the SOA solution is for the volatility. I use this highlighted part, which is actually the square root of 10%. So sigma is 31.62% in my example. And it says here to calculate the expected cumulative profit or loss if the policyholder surrenders their policy at the end of year 2. And so what I have here is I need to just add up, there's no discounting of my revenues and my expenses. And so I just separate it out here. So I have my management fees for years 1, my expected management fee for year 2, my put payoffs, and then the cost for the puts, and then my GMAB expected payout. So I first wanted to visualize this example using like a binomial tree. So here's like time 0 right here, and then it goes to time 1, time 2, and so time 0 is $9,700. So where did this come from? This came from the account value, and I multiplied that by the management fee of 3%. And so that's where you get 9,700. So we're already behind. You know, we already start out behind from the GMAB, which is just a return of the initial premium of $10,000. And then at time 1, I have this increasing with the real world rate of return. So it's a binomial tree. So increasing by 10%, or I decrease by 5%. So there's my values there. And then at the beginning of the first year, I need to pay another management fee. So if I was at time 1, I'd already decreased 3% of this. And then of the 9,215, I decrease 3%. And of this value, I increase either 10% or go down 5% in each of those ones. So let's first start with time 1. Time 1's a lot easier to do. Now, a concept that I've learned that we can reiterate from this is when you project out, you use real world assumptions. And then when you price back in for pricing purposes, that's when you use risk neutral. And so that's another concept of an exam that's demonstrated here. And so my management fee for year 1, so at the beginning of the year, I get $300. And then the put payout, this one's quite easy to do, or the put payoff. You only get a payoff on your put if it goes down below $10,000. You want to buy at the notional amount of $10,000. So that's where the $10,000 gets, and then you minus the 9,215, and so that it's only a 50% chance of happening. So that is where my payoff is coming in right there. And just give me one sec here. So now to calculate the put, or the cost of the put, this one is just simply, they gave this part here. So there's no Black-Scholes that we need to calculate. It's just the 96.9, and that's 1,000 per $1,000 notional. We need to do $10,000. So there's the $969. And so that is for year 1. I'm going to create a second video that's going to talk about year 2 and how we get that pricing for the revenues and the expenses, and we'll finish that up.